Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you are enjoying this show, you should also check out the Premier Boys Podcast, hosted by myself, Aaron Kintok Sands, the Star Rider Rod, and Long Live the Chief Mighty Mal, where we discuss many topics within the culture, from music, love, relationships, sex, politics, and many more. We could make you laugh, but the show could also get a little raunchy and may not be for everybody. But if you're willing to take that risk, check out the Premier Voice Podcast every Wednesday, a part of the Premier Powerverse. Other show you could check out on the Premier Powerverse is King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands every Friday at 12 p.m. Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Rider Rod every Monday at 12 p.m. And Welcome to the Trilogy hosted by Long Live the Chief Mighty Mel every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Listen and support on every show in the Premier Powerverse. Thank you for listening to this message and enjoy the show. You are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 8. Chill! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, 1/4 of the Premier Voice Podcast, and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. And this is the mid-season 8 finale of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast and the last episode of 2024. And on this episode, we will be reflecting on the year 2024 and why did I name this episode The Warm-Up. And you already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
My name is Samuel Austin, and you are listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And that is time. The time for MrGentleman Facts Quote of the Day. And today's quote of the day is, at this year end, let's learn to love each other. Let's learn to be there for each other. Let's learn to support each other. Let all go for bigger and better things in the year 2025. And let's not focus on what happened in the past, but let's focus on the things to come in the future. And that is today, MrGentleman Facts Quote of the Day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they're at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Off Series Thursdays, where we have all of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast spin-off series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Rider Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, the Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, and tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheers!
This is Belinda Jaime, also known as Miss Mariposa, and you are listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, it's time for the mid-season 8 finale topic. And before we talk about today's topic, originally I had a different topic in mind. I was supposed to talk about why did I never fit in, but I wasn't fully prepared to talk about that yet. So we're going to save that for another episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. I will talk more about the future episode at the end of the show. But today's episode, we are going to talk about how we feel about the year 2024. And I did the type of episode last year, which was called Growth, which was the 200th episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And I named it Growth because I was slowly getting back to myself. How I would describe the year 2024 is the warm-up. And I named it the warm-up not because of J. Cole re-released his warm-up mixtape this year, but I named it the warm-up because it was a part 2 to how I felt last year. Only thing different was that I was becoming more me than I was becoming last year. And 2024 for me was actually pretty good. I felt like a lot of things is pretty much in place and preparing me for what to come in the future. I was more happier this year. I started to go out more. I started to really get myself out there again, and even started slowly go on dates again. It was something that I wasn't doing in the past. After having, the last 4 years, deal with the pandemic, dealing with anxiety, I didn't feel like me for the last couple of years, and I just happy that everything's slowly coming together, and I know bigger and better things are coming. So I'm happy for me to really get myself out there and happy for those around me for pushing me, getting me back out there as well. So, yeah. One of the proudest moments I had this year was my weight loss journey. Earlier this year, I was 218 pounds. And it was to the point that I was looking really unfamiliar. And a lot of people noticed it, but I seemed like I didn't fully notice. But I was just like, I didn't really get to me until like I started to really look at my pictures, and I started to look at myself like, but dang, I got really big. And one of those things that I didn't fully realize it basically. And then March came, and it was something that I noticed happening where my legs started hurting way more, to the point like every time I walk fast, because I am a fast walker, my legs start to hurt. It was hurting usual. It was weird. And then I started getting chest pains, like really bad chest pains. And I thought something was happening. And so I went to the doctor for my yearly physical, just to see like where I'm at. And plus, with all that was happening, I was wondering like, hope nothing was going on. So I got my yearly physical. And everything came back normal except for a few things where my cholesterol level was way too high. It was to the point that it was close to high risk. And the doctor said that it was getting really concerning. And she said that I need to do something ASAP or things would get worse for me. And as she telling me that, I took that really serious to the point where I started to work out day and night. I started to be more active, walk around more. I started to go to sleep earlier. I started to change my diet, cut out some things, like cut out fats, cut out sweets, cut out beef, cut out dairy and other stuff. And I just took my health really serious. And 6 months came. I went back to the doctor for a follow-up checkup on see where my cholesterol level was. And early this year, I was 218 pounds. Earlier this year in March, and then when September came, I was 171, and I lost 47 pounds. And I feel like that was probably one of my proudest moments for this year because I took my health really serious. And not only that, I felt more confident about myself. I started feeling way better in terms of everything, and I was just happy. I felt really happy after that, and yeah, and I'm glad that I took my health serious. I said this in the season 8 premiere. Like, if something you feel wrong with your body, go to the doctor, get yourself checked up, because you just never know what could happen. You don't want to go to the doctor and you find out something way worse, like what's going on in your body, and it's too late to fix the problem. It's better to go to the doctor now and fix it early. So instead of go to the doctor and it was too late to fix the problem. If you don't like something about yourself, just go out there and change it. I know it's gonna be hard, but if you want something better, if you want better for yourself, you just gotta go out there and change it. And I'm proud that I really took my health serious, and now me continue to work out, continue to eat the same way. I still doing that now, so it's not just a thing because of my health. It became a lifestyle now. So yeah, but the year 2024, it wasn't all good for me. It was some bad. It was some bad in my 2024 as well. Where the end of last year, somebody I know who I went to high school with passed away, and then a few months later, another person from high school passed away. So yeah, so those two losses really did affect me. 'Cause I did know both of them, and it was a lot. Also, I had a family member who was in the hospital this year too, and it was pretty bad. But I'm glad that he's doing better now. But yeah, it was some. I did have some lows, and of course, I was still dealing with depression because I do have moments where I still wasn't happy where I'm at. But even when I started feeling away, I started to look at where I know I'm heading, and I let those moments do not get to me. Sometimes that you can't let the bad parts get to you when you know that you're heading in the right direction. You just have to just let yourself know that everything gonna be alright. It's not easy. Of course, it's not easy. Better said than done, but you just have to know that better days are coming. How do I feel about the podcast in 2024? Oddly, I felt like MrGentleman liked the podcast. We did not have no real major milestones in the year 2024. We did have our 5-year anniversary. We was added on the personal journal good pod charts. We've been number one multiple times, and we was back on the Apple podcast charts. But I feel like we didn't really have no real milestones. I mean, this year as a whole for MrGentleman like the podcast, it was pretty up and down. Some days the show gained, some days, other days the show we lost a lot of listeners. Some people who listen to the show faithfully don't listen to the show like that no more. So, and it was a lot of changes within different platform. Spotify podcast has changed a lot with their platform. GoodPod updated their platform, so a lot of my listeners listens had not been the same. So, but at this point right now, we're just pretty much rebuilding and rebranding and just going with it. And so far, it's slowly getting back to it. I just want 2025 to be a bigger year for Mr. Gentleman, like the podcast, as we celebrate our 6-year anniversary. And yeah, I know, looking forward to bigger and better things. And we're going to talk more about that on the 6-year anniversary episode. So, about the podcast, so look out for that. And what do I want in the year 2025? I want everything that I've been doing now to be 10 toes better. I want my finance to be way bigger than it is now. I want to travel more. I want to accomplish way more goals that I have set and make a lot of major personal moves. And I want to see a lot of my people conquer their goals as well. And for 2025, I want breakthrough. I want success. I want bigger finance. And I want to explore. And hopefully find love in the year 2025. I just want 2025 to be a great year for all of us. And yeah. And my closing remark for this year is, if everything you wanted didn't happen this year, you could always make it happen next year. And if you want to change this, if you want better for yourself, you just got to go out there and do better. And also, stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing, and focus on what you need to do. Because at the end of the day, what you need to do is what matters more than what everybody else needs to do. Don't compare yourself saying because one person is in a relationship, getting married, and you not. Focus on you. Do not focus on everybody else because they're not checking for you either. So my tip for y'all is focus on your goals and don't focus what the next person is doing. Because your time is coming. And I'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman. Now, I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spin-off Series Thursdays. And Spin-off Series Thursday is the new home for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spin-off Series that brought to you shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast, The Old School Show, and Date Night Talk Podcast. And A Conversation About Music Podcast is a music spin-off series where we talk about anything music, from the current music scene and the old school music scene, where we interview many guests that's in the music industry and artists about their music journey. We have a segment game called The Face Off, which is a versus inspired game. And we have roundtable discussion about variety of music topics. And y'all can check out A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Now, the Old School Show that features myself and the star Roddy Rod is a show where we discuss anything old school, from music, TV shows, movies, and many more. We also bring in guests to join in on the old school conversation. Y'all can check out the Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And last but not least, we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B, where we talk about anything relationship related topics like love, dating, relationships, cheating, the good and the bad, and many more. And y'all can check out this spin-off series, Date Night Talk Podcast, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. So look out for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Presents Spin-off Series Thursday, a conversation about music podcast every first Thursdays. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Riding Rod every fourth Thursdays, and Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays. And y'all can check out Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays. And thank y'all for checking out this commercial break. And now back to your regularly scheduled program. True! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning in to this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you to everybody who's been listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast all 2024. And thank you for everybody who listened to the first half of season 8 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. It really means a lot. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all who've been supporting Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast this season or in general. You know, it really means a lot. And once again, I thank you. Thank you to every guest who came on the show so far for the first half of season 8. Haley De La Cruz, host of The American Dreams and the Eyes of Immigrants. Bronny Marie, Anastasia, and our returning guests, Jalen and Elijah Rose, for coming back on the show. You know, it really means a lot. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for having fun conversation. And thank you to just being yourself. It really means a lot. And I want to say thank you for coming on the show. And all of y'all are welcome to come back for a future episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You already know where you can check out Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series, and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays, where we have shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday at 12 p.m. Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Ms. Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. and the Old School Show with myself and the Star Riding Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. Spin-off series Thursday will be returning in 2025. So look out for all of the spin-off series Thursday shows returning in 2025. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, and Podchasers. The more y'all rate the show, the more people know about Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you want to be a guest on Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast for season 8 or even season 9 or any of the spin-off series Thursday shows, send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, kenypgent@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, Ken_Mr. Gentleman. I repeat, Ken, Ken _Mr. MR Gentleman, GENTLEMAN. And we can set something up because we are still looking for guests for the second half of season 8 and season 9 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can also check me out on the Premier Boys Podcast with myself, Aaron Quito Sands, the Star Riding Rod, and Long Live the Chief Mountain Mal. New episodes of the Premier Boys Podcast every Wednesdays at 12 a.m. New episode on the Premier Boys Podcast every Wednesdays at 12 p.m. You can also check out other shows in the Premier Podverse. Aaron King Talk Sands Show, King Talk with Aaron Sands. New season coming real soon. So look out for that. Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Riding Rod. You can check out all episodes of Star Time Podcast right now on all podcast platforms. and welcome to the trilogy hosted by Lone Live the Chief, Molly Mel. New episodes of Welcome to the Trilogy coming real soon. So listen and support every show in the premiere pod first. And now it's time for everybody's favorite segment. It's time for MrGentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts, where we shout out podcast shows and we give them their flowers. Last week, we shout out 4 shows: Conversation with Toy, Ignite Your Power, the Caffeine Mal podcast, Wild Night with Rocky, and Lady Pitch. Check out the 4 shows that we shout out last week. And this week, we shout out 4 new shows this week. The first show we're going to shout out is Funny Medicine Podcast, hosted by Julie and Yvette. And on this podcast, they tackle many trending topics from anti-aging going wrong, medicine curiosity, healthcare news, and medicine facts, and many more. Some episodes get really hilarious, also blend with many medicine facts. I love that they mix with funny and they mix with, you can also learn something on the show. So definitely check out the Funny Medicine Podcast. It's a really dope show. Check it out. Next show we're going to talk about is Unpacking the Box, hosted by Linnea. On this show, she interviewed many guests where they talk about their life journey, and she told many personal stories about herself and many more. This is a really good show, and I love when she interviews guests because she do her thing when she interviews guests. And she interviewed a lot of dope people doing really amazing things. So whenever you get a chance, check out Unpacking the Box podcast. And next show we're going to talk about is the Broma Show. And on this show, he talk about trending topics in the internet culture and other culture that he enjoyed. And, I enjoyed Broma Show. Really dope show. And check him out. He was also on my show a couple of years ago. But I'm happy that Bromar is doing his thing. He always shout me out. So I'm going to shout out to you, Bromar. Thank you for always supporting MrGentleman. Like the podcast, it really means a lot, bro. And the last show we're going to talk about is ACMG Digital Podcast, formerly known as the Chit Chatter Show, hosted by Alejandra Carr. And this show where she interviewed many entrepreneurs and talk about their life journey, talk about what they're doing, give motivational facts and many more. I was on her show earlier this year, so definitely check out her show. And she was on my show too earlier this year, so keep doing your thing, Alejandra. She just been killing it lately. And check out the ACMG Digital Podcast. And check out the 4 shows that I just mentioned: the Funny Medicine Podcast, Unpacking the Box Podcast with Linnea, the Broma Show, and ACMG Digital Podcast. And that is this week, MrGentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts. True! And add me on Good Pods, Kim MrGentleman. Y'all already know Good Podcasts and many independent podcasters. You see what everybody listens to. We can rate each other's shows. And we had the charts. And at the time, it's time for MrGentleman Lifestyle Achievements, where we spotlight everything MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast is doing. And of course, we got the top 100 show chart. And this week, MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast is number 5 on the normal charts and number 3 on the indie charts. This is probably the highest that we've been in a very, very long time. So I just want to say thank you, everybody who've been continue to listen to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. It really means a lot. And thank you. For Society and Culture, we are still number 1. We've been number 1 for 6 days. And for Personal Journal, we're still number 1. We've been number 1 for 9 days. So once again, thank you everybody who's been supporting MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, who's still been supporting MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Good Pod. Really means a lot. Even when things change on the platform, y'all do listen, support, rate on Good Pod. So it really means a lot. So once again, I thank you everybody who's been listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Good Pod and every podcast platform. It really means a lot. Thank you everybody. And of course, check out the official website of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com. You can listen to every episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can watch every video of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, from the audio version from the Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV for Mr. Gentleman Fact Quote today, or just subscribe to the YouTube channel, Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast. Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast. You can check out all the video that's also on the website. Check out everybody who's been on Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast. All 74 guests who've been on Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast, and more guests to come in 2025. Check out all my guest appearances that I've been on, and more guest appearances coming soon. And of course, check out the official merch store of Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast, www.tpublic.com. Search Mr. Gentleman, like that store. We have shirts, hoodies, mugs, masks, and many more. Support the store so we can upgrade your listening experiences. We are working on new designs for 2025. So continue to support the official merch store at www.tpublic.com. Search Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Store and check out the official website of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Once again, thank you everybody who's been listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast for the year 2024 and for the first half of season 8, because this is the mid-season 8 finale, and this is the last episode of 2024. So when is Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast returning? So here is the schedule. So we're going to take a break for most of January until our 6-year anniversary of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, which is January 20th. 6-year anniversary of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Then a week later, on the 25th, we have a new episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, second half of season 8 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast on January 25th. So save those dates. And yeah, once again, thank you everybody who listened to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast for the year 2024 and everything. You know, it really means a lot. Thank you everybody. Thank you to every guest. And thank you for continuing to support Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Have a good day or night wherever you're listening to this episode. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. I see y'all in 2025. Chill!
My name is Imani, and you're now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.